Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Tuesday market review. Pat here, going to be discussing crypto markets along with some indexes, Ethereum and altcoins. We're going to be looking at a plan for the week ahead along with some trade ideas and a lot more. So let's get into it. Before we get into the TA, make sure you check out the socials in the link below, drop a subscribe and turn the notification bell on. We'll be doing and have been doing weekly uploads on YouTube, live streams on Twitch at the moment, and we'll be live tomorrow. So make sure you head over to my Twitch and come hang tomorrow midday UTC. So we're going to be starting off on Bitcoin as usual. Discussed this area on BTC last week in the market review, but a critical place for BTC to hold between 109 all the way down to like 106, even just under 106 is a pretty critical place for BTC to continue to hold. It's critical in the sense that if we look at the weekly and the 3-day into this area, it's a very important retest. It's like a prior all-time high retest, which in bull markets, should hold. We've had a couple of prior all-time high retests. We can say that this was a prior all-time high retest. And then going back to like the summer range last year, that was like a prior all-time high retest as well. Like if we look at the higher time frame, like on the monthly here, this was like a prior all-time high retest and it held, right? Same again here. We should hold into this prior all-time high retest. So with that in mind, I continue to look at this place to be a very critical position for BTC to hold, and we'll get into these two plans shortly. But now I quickly want to discuss the area, and this area is important to hold because if we fail to hold here, there's a good chance we're going to be trading down towards like sub 100k, 98 to 93k, which would still be a bullish place to hold. Don't get me wrong, if we did trade into sub 100k, that by no means would lead to a cycle top. As I've been saying, been buying Bitcoin daily, and will continue to buy Bitcoin daily towards the start of Q4 with a plan of selling in end of October onwards. So if we did deviate here, right, and we lock in this big deviation above like 109 to 110, there's a good chance we're going to be looking at trading down towards this sort of like high volume node POC area, towards this like 96 down to like 92k region, as I just discussed. Looking at that sort of a red area, right? It's red because this is kind of like the fail safe if the green area doesn't hold. So that sort of brings me to the current long plans for BTC right now. Something I want to quickly point out is the daily structure on BTC. So this is not something I necessarily like to bid into, but when we form a support, we reject from the support on the daily. We form a support, we reject from the support on the daily, we form a support, and then we reject from the support on the daily. For the trend to be invalidated on something like this, we need a good daily close. So in current market structure case, a daily close above 110 would be great, and then a daily close above 112 would be even better. If we did get either of these daily closes, there's a good chance that price is going to trade back down towards 118 and then even as high as 125, and then pushing on to like fresh all-time highs above that. The other option would be looking for a sweep under these lows. Look for a bit of a trap, and we take a long under 107 into like 106. I'll get into the area in the value side of things shortly, but overall a sweep of these equal lows. I'll move the alerts so you can see them, but we can see right now stacked set of equal lows. So a nice set of liquidity under there that could be a good opportunity for a trap if we sweep under there, run a bunch of stops, and we can look at longing from there. So that's sort of where these two plans come from. I will take either one depending on whether they play out and which one plays out first. First option being a daily close above 110 or even better above 112. The second option being a sweep under 107 into 106s and looking for a trap under here for a fresh long. Like I said, critical place for BTC to hold. If we do start to deviate under here, there's a good chance we're going to be running towards like 98 to 93k. So if we did get that daily close above 110 or 112, it has very similar price action to our bottom back in January of 2024, where we had this similar structure, right? We had a sweep above range high, and then it led to a sweep below range low. And then we have this like step down price action and a daily trend line. So if we had a similar thing, right, where we get this impulsive daily close, in this case, it was above 41k and then 42k, we ended up getting both daily closes. We can see how the market reversed. So in no way am I saying that this will be an identical play from Bitcoin in the fact that it will continue to leg up. But if we did get the daily close above 110, above 112, then we could see something very similar happen on BTC. Right now, we're trading below the developing yearly value area high, which I think we need to get back above this week. It's pretty important that we continue to hold above this developing yearly value area high, and we lock in a retest like we done back in June. Accepting back inside the yearly value would likely lead to a move back towards sort of 98k over September before bottoming and then rallying into October. That would then tie in with the idea that if we did deviate here and we locked in a reclaim back under 106, that we would get that move down to like 98k, right back down towards that yearly VWAP that I just discussed, down towards 98k. Marked at the 106,700 area is the Q2 value area high, an important place for BTC to hold, and right now we're trading above the June value area high. So overall, some key values. Something I want to discuss and I was looking at yesterday is playing with the standard deviation bands of like 2.5. So 2.5 within the standard deviation of the VWAP. On the quarterly, it has been a significant place for BTC, has marked a sign of extension and exhaustion to the downside multiple times, where it has not local topped, but necessarily put in like marked a bottom or a top. I could see that doing a similar thing as we move into these equal lows. If we trade in towards this value area low, the 2.5 standard deviation band from the VWAP, right? I could think that can be a really nice place to look at a reversal for BTC. That kind of ties in the idea of that option 2 that I had and sweeping under these equal lows for liquidity. But we can look at it from all the way back in Q2 of 2024 and then Q3 of 2024 as well. Very similar price action as we sort of trade into this value area low, the 2.5. How we bounce. Intraday side of things, I currently am short on BTC, just a scout position, but had quite a nice SFP on the 30-minute chart. Looking for a bit of reversion. Like I said, ideally we go for a sweep of the lows. We can see quite a lot of OI build up in the long side into the highs. And when we look at the weekly market profile from BTC, this is going to be a very key area for us to keep an eye on this week. As you can see over the past few weeks, every prior value area low for Bitcoin has acted as a sort of like resistance area and has led to price action moving lower, right? For the first time in a few weeks, we're actually looking at putting a move above the prior weekly value area low on the market profile. So if we can accept this week above the prior weekly value area low, then there's a good chance we're going to go for that break up towards 114 to 119, right? So looking for like a daily close would be a good trigger above 110, and there's a good chance that we can get that break towards 114k and then even towards 119k as well, targeting these naked pox above. Failing to hold here and deviating back below, we go for that sweep that I've been discussing towards those down below. I think this can also be a good short position to take if you wanted to chase a short, then under here. And right now, this is not a place I would chase short. Since it was a nice SFP into the highs. We'll probably look at TPing partials very soon. Moving on to BTC against the global M2, the 10-week lead. This continues to look fine for now, although the window in which we are trailing the M2 is slowly diminishing. Over the past 2 years, we've been trailing the M2 quite well and local topping, matching up with the 10-week lead on the global M2 against Bitcoin. And for the first time in the past 2 years, we can see that the global M2 has continued to rally into that September, and opposing to that, Bitcoin has been sort of like inverted to the global M2, which is the first time in a while we've seen something like this play out for it. With that in mind, I wouldn't put off the fact that BTC could put in like a 15% move over the next 2 weeks. That's not out of the ordinary at all. Like 2 to 3 weeks, or let's say 2 weeks towards sort of like the back end week of September the 14th. It doesn't have to match up tick for tick, but in terms of trailing, the window is now diminishing, as I said, in the fact that if we are going to get this move towards fresh all-time highs on Bitcoin and continue to follow the global M2, the 10-week lead, then the move needs to happen very, very soon. Like I said, wouldn't put it out the window that we can't put in a 15% move, but we really need to see some positive signs from Bitcoin in terms of structure buying power over the next week, especially this week. I think it's going to be very important. Dominance continues to trade below 60%. If it does retest 60%, then this is going to be an important place for us to keep an eye on. A reclaim back above 60% on dominance, I can see it trading towards 64% and then maybe even new fresh yearly highs for Bitcoin dominance. This would be a Bitcoin leading market again, which for the longevity of the market would be great. If we saw dominance start to spike again and we see BTC start to take control, because obviously the longer ETH and other L1s and stuff lead the market, the closer we are to the end of the cycle, right? So in terms of longevity of the cycle, we'd like to see dominance start to lead again, obviously, but in terms of altcoins, a rejection from 60% and a breakout from Ethereum can be very, very positive for altcoins. ETH continues to trade in this 4,400 to 4,200 region. As long as we can hold in towards 4,200 on ETH, I'm fairly sure this again remains a good retest opportunity before higher. Personally looking for a sweep under these lows at 4,200 to try and take a long. We also have a naked POC there, which should act as a bit of a reaction, so going to keep an eye on that area for a fresh long. You know, it's the range low area for ETH. Range low has been a good buying opportunity for it over the past, what do you want to call it, quarter or so, right? We can see sort of range, leg up, range, leg up, range, leg up, range, leg up, range, right? If this trend is to continue, we'd like to see a range low hold and we can continue to trade up. Failing to hold 4,200, then we look at targeting this prior value area low down towards 3,800 to 3,400, as I've marked in this red box here, similar to the Bitcoin scenario. A couple altcoins here I've got my eye on for the rest of the week just to wrap things up right now. And MAV is one big low volume node gap above. If it can start to flip 0.083, there's a good chance it can break out nicely. I've got my eye on this for a move. We'll look at buying a breakout and a flip above here on like the M30, the M15 time frame. Standard structure triggers like sweep, reclaim, and look at taking a position here with invalidation below. Simple stuff for a breakout. Pump, I currently have a limit at 0.0032. This got front run overnight a little bit. Currently I've cancelled it, but I'm going to look for a fresh long this week. I think pump, as long as it can sustain a move above this range high area, I think it looks good to continue to leg up for the rest of the month in September. I do think that 0.0032 remains a good place to be a buyer, but I'm going to keep an eye on a trigger in towards this 3.5 area for now. Again, likely depends on what BTC and ETH does over the course of the week. Final one is ENA. This is very strong. I would like to get a bid on ENA back towards 0.58. Subject to change if it gets a breakout and we can start to flip here. I would consider chasing along with a target of 0.91 to $1. That sums it up for this week's market review. Run over a little bit as per usual. What do we expect? Make sure you check out the socials in the link below. Link to join Discord, daily streams and trades being given there every day. Good place to be locked in for October. BTC, go back and look at the BTC plan. Fairly clear of what I want to see this week. But overall, pretty important region for us to hold and a crucial week of trading. Hope you guys have a good one and I'll catch you tomorrow for my Twitch stream if you're going to make it. Bye bye.